those who control you. This is how it was done. Okay. Do you know what this is? I think not. Okay. 10 to 12,000 years the fall of civilization. The retention of knowledge was held in a scientific priesthood type community, and majority of the re-emerging population was basically in a level of ignorance and lack of understanding of the relationship of time and space on a planetary body. Okay? The daily arch of the sun, starting in the east, making an arch and setting in the west. The annual cycle of what we call the equinoxes and the solstices of these two cardinal points, every 90 or so days, where on the horizon of the east 2 times of the year, there is a vernal equinox and an autumnal equinox, spring or fall, on the annual cycle of the orbit of the sun. The sun stops, which is the literal translation for the word solstice, S-O-L for sun and stis for stopping, okay? The solstice in June and December stops at its maximum if we chart every day. Cool. The sun and its equinox, the solstice. Solstice. These are your two shadows of the solstice, the sun and the equinox. Okay? The sun will start moving to the solstice in fall and this way in the spring, and opposite according to where you are in the southern or northern hemisphere, and twice of the year it will end up here on the horizon. I-L-L-I. Illy. These are the ones in control, the elevated ones. In San Francisco, there's something called Nob Hill, which is the highest point in that little peninsula in San Francisco. Nob is N-O-B, from which you will get the word nobility. Nob means the highest point. Nob Hill is where the aristocracy hangs out. The Hillies are small elite families who basically hang out on the top of the hill in the last 1,000 years or so, became the castles, the lords, the manor of the hill. Where did the castles always go? On top of the hill, and the people down below serving the elites, the nobility. Okay? In the British Isles, they had key focuses for their spiritual relationship. There were several goddesses' names, Ayr and Ari. Okay? Ayr, from which you get Ireland. The Illies were the ones at the top controlling it all, directed it. Okay? The Aries were the wise men, the educated, the Druids, the priesthood holding the scientific knowledge, created colleges and disseminating it into the era we called Europe. They were also known as the Iberu, I-B-E-R-U. What we call Spain today was known as Iberia. Okay? And the era we call Siberia today is still Siberia. You know? Sanskrit Druidic language. San, from which we get the word saint, it means sacred. Skrit means to write. There are 47 sound tones that made up the language that are actually in the body. That's why it's called sacred language. They were actually mapped in the body. Okay? Long before Judea, Christian, which is really Egyptian, Sumerian, Babylonian, corrupted, took it, turned it upside down, inside out, and said they were the source and the origin, and established that basis to justify taking the place of the Ari, or the Aryans. Looking at the Indus Valley, the Ganges River, 2,500 years ago or more, what became our modern civilization, they were called the Aryans or the Aryans. Now modern times, Hitler and the Nazis are the Aryan race. When it started, the Aryans or the Aries were the elevated wise men who were disseminating science and knowledge and attempting to raise mankind back to a level of education or civilization until that parasitic insertion. Hebrew, Nibiru. Check it. There's an Egyptian word called Apiru. A-P-I-R-U. Okay? Known as the Hyksos. Took control of Egypt in the 18th dynasty for 500 years. The Apiru from around about 1800 to 2000 BC, controlling all the way up to 1300 to 1400 BC, known as the Hyksos period. The Hyksos are known in Egypt history as being parasites. They came in, took control, very intelligent people. They created structures, legal structure, monetary structure. They basically took the productive part of civilization and sucked the wealth out of it, and adopted the term Ari or Aryans as who they were and integrated it into control of priesthood and science priest, etc. You cannot control an extremely complex, multifaceted reality by complexity. It has to be simple. The daily arch of the sun, which is an obvious key component in time and space. Okay? You have a relatively flat plane and you know where the equinox is going to be on the two solstices. Okay? This is your horizon. Miles away. When the sun comes up on an equinox, right? You would place a staff right here and it would cast a shadow this way. When it comes up on the solstice here, it will cast a shadow this way. And when it comes up on this solstice, it will cast a shadow this way. Now you have this new generation, new hippies, accepting this as a peace symbol. The dove is a symbol of peace, etc. Walking around disseminating it, but those who would control us through the mind, through the capacity of us to create reality, all is done through the use of symbol. Because pre-language, our whole being takes in symbol in a quantum, ideographic, holographic way of inducing through the third eye and bringing it down into the biocrystal in a virtual reality, projecting the unit that we are as we create reality. So we are walking around with this symbol all the time, going in and projecting out. Okay?